third Fallen film.
Yes.
We're back, but we're different.
We turned everything on its head. It was a bit of a joke. Why is it going to be Paris has fallen, Tokyo has fallen? So well, what if the president's guardian angel, actually everybody turns against him? He's set up for the assassination of the president, and now everybody's trying to get him.
Gerard and I have been wanting to work together for a while, and he called me up and said, hey, we're going to do another Has Fallen, but I don't want it to feel like a sequel. I want it to be a new installment and take a new direction, and how you come in and put your stamp on it. And I think the first thing that resonated with me is, let's meet Mike Manning. Let's make it an origin story and really see what makes him tick, what the cost is of being a career Secret Service agent or any type of career service member, and turn it into more of a road movie. And when he told me about the idea that the hook would be that the #1 protector of the president would become America's Most Wanted, I love that, because we finally get to see Mike Manning on defense. We get to see him be the rabid dog of the fugitive, and it allowed you to go through a band of characters through the movie and see how all these things play to being with the man that has been his paternal figure in his life, ever present, and then the heartbreaking thing of possibly almost losing him.
I want to talk about those action scenes for a minute, because while there were some digital effects, I saw a lot of practical effects in this film.
Yeah.
What is the process of making a movie like Angel Has Fallen, where literally every other scene is just full throttle action, while you're using practical, very tangible elements?
Yeah, I love that you said that, because that was a big thing to Rick, our director, was, we're not working with the $200 million budget where people just throw these effects and it always feels like effects. So it's like, let's live it and let's put you right in there, which was another thing. He's like, there's an explosion, I want you in the shot.
It looked like you were really close to a few of those explosions. I was like, how far is he away from that fire?
No, I was pretty close. And then there's times when they're coming towards me and I'm looking down going, is there one underneath me?
Kind of like checking the ground just to make sure.
But it's like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, it is going to stop there, right?
For us, we wanted you to be attached to it. We wanted you to be in the emotional thrust that the characters were. And, Nick might have lost a little bit of hair when I singed his hair. And, you were drowned a little bit.
Yeah, you went through over a boat. You were in the middle of a burning forest. Which, by the way, was one of the funniest scenes throughout the whole movie. I could not stop laughing with these explosions, and just the comedic timing on that was amazing. Amazing. Since you have now played kind of both sides, you've been the agent in Covert Affairs, and now you've played basically the support system for the agent.
Totally.
Which side do you find yourself more attracted to, and which was more fun to really explore?
They're both really interesting. One is less physical work. Being the support system at home, I can wear sneakers and nobody's shooting at me, which is great. But I like them both. And one of the things I like about this film is that it deals with that idea of the support system of a service member. I feel like that component of the story, especially in American action movies, is sometimes glossed over, and you don't really see how difficult it is to be married to someone who's in service. So I really like that part of this movie.
So you play a senior FBI agent who is very good at her job, very straightforward, and doesn't mess around.
Right.
In an industry that is historically pretty male-dominated.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know what advice you have for women on pursuing careers like that, to find the confidence to do exactly what your character does.
Yeah, you have to go for it, and I think it is really finding that that inner speech that reminds you that you belong there.
Mm-hmm.
You belong there, no matter what, and that's something that we can't be given from anyone else. That's something we got to bring to the table. When we have that peace within us, no matter what's going on with anybody else, we're good.
I think with social media these days, it's really hard to do that.
It is.
Times.
You have to have your own. You have to have your own ground that you stand on. You cannot measure yourself through other people's perception of you, because people don't really have great perceptions of themselves, let alone of you. You'll see that more often, that people aren't feeling that great about themselves, so you can't measure yourself through someone else's cracked lens. So you really have to be able to stand on your own foundation and be very clear about who you are, and it takes a lot of work. It really does. People think it should come automatically. It doesn't. It's something that we have to be very conscious about. We have to really sit with ourselves and create that messaging within us around our strengths and what makes us smart, courageous and brave and vulnerable and compassionate. We have to be all those things, right? And so, and it's a journey. Sometimes we're going to do well with it and sometimes we're not. And
Yep.
that's okay too. You know what I mean? I think
Exactly.
as women, we got to give ourselves that room too.
Yes,
You know, it's
100%.
okay. It's okay if today it didn't go exactly how you thought. Or
Yeah.
this guy said something to you that got under your skin. That's going to happen. And now you just got to examine it and see why. And just, it's not going to get you the way it did today, tomorrow.
I also want to talk about the political divide that it's addressed a little bit in this movie, and we're kind of experiencing in our country in a really big way right now. You know, when it comes to being so divided, what is it about film that actually brings people back and unites them through the stories that we see?
I think that storytelling is sort of an ancient way of uniting a community. And what's cool about seeing a movie in a movie theater as opposed to like home streaming on television is that you go and sit in a common space with your community. Like most towns have some kind of movie theater, Cineplex, whatever. And no matter how many friends you bring, there's still other people that you don't know in the theater. And one of the things I like best about going to see the movie in the movie theater is as you walk out, when the movie ends and the lights are sort of half up and they're like, the credits are just finishing and everybody's walking out with like their empty box of popcorn, the sort of when you're hearing what everybody else is saying, I think that's really cool. And you can hear other perspectives that aren't your own, which doesn't happen when you watch a movie at home on your television. And then that sort of car ride home when you talk about the movie. And so with a movie like this, where you're talking about domestic terrorism, service members, PTSD, how it affects the family, I think it makes those conversations possible on the drive home.
This movie, it's one of those kind of thrill ride, grab your seat. And I do this thing whenever I watch scenes like that where I literally bring everything and I curl up into like a little ball.
Yeah.
Do you have a habit that you find yourself doing whenever you're in the middle of watching one of those really intense scenes?
I do. It's a really bad one. Sometimes like if my cuticles are dry around my nails, and I pick them. I pick them. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like this. And then sometimes I'll bite and I'm like, no, you can't do that. You're going to tear your fingers up.
I mean, I have a tendency to hold my breath. And so I actually was talking to a screenwriter about this, and he was saying one of the reasons why you have to have a humor component in an action movie or thriller is that the audience holds their breath. And when you make them laugh, it makes them breathe so they can keep going. And I think that's what's so great about Nick Nolte in this movie is that he brings humor.
He's great.
He's amazing.
He's so good.
I think I often find myself leaning into it, like leaning forward and grabbing the seat, and my calves get very tense, and my
Yeah?
feet, I put a lot of, like I'm doing it now, so I'm like this, watching, like I can't get close enough, and it's almost like I'm willing it on, even in this movie, and I know what happens, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I have, adrenaline comes easily with me.
I see that.
Yeah.
Well, I hope people have a great time watching this movie. I know I did. Thank you
Good.
so much. Thank you for your time
Spread the
today.
word.